It's time to stand with all moderates. And there's been the very, very distressing news come out in the last couple of days about Lubna. And if you don't know who Lubna is, she's a Pakistani lady. Well, she's English, she was born in England, but she's Pakistani heritage lady. And she has had threats from what she says are extremists in her community about her content. And these are serious threats. And again, I think we've got to realise that in that community, anything that diverges from the main core religious belief is considered as treason. And that could be something as simple as not wearing a head covering. It could be as simple as believing in equal rights for women. It could be any of those sort of things. Can cause real world problems. And I've watched Lubna's content. She has never criticised the religion from her community. Not once. Not once. And she's been very balanced, very moderate, and she's talking about bringing people together. She's talking about unity. And she has been critical of her community, but she's got every right to be. In the same way I'm critical of my community. And I'm critical of things that are done on the far right of British politics. There's things that I find absolutely appalling and abhorrent, and I've got a lot of pushback from when I've called them out. It's called freedom. It's called freedom of speech. And what's happened is her freedom of speech has been completely trampled on by whoever's threatened her. I saw the video this morning. She's very alarmed. Very, very worried. I didn't watch the whole thing because I've had so much going on. But I watched enough to realise that she was absolutely terrified. And she said she's not going to talk about this stuff anymore. Now, I hope she continues to do the channel. And again, you can talk about stuff without talking about stuff. What you can do, and this is what I'm going to do on this channel, I'm not going to be talking in a negative light about people I disagree with. I've done that a lot on my other channels. I've done a lot of that on Twitter. I'm not going to stop doing that on Twitter, or X, or whatever you want to call it now. But on this channel, I want to have it to be positive. I want it to be talking about faith, family, and flag. And again, that doesn't mean my faith's perfect. That doesn't mean my family's perfect, and that doesn't mean the UK's perfect. What it means is they're the bedrocks of our society, and I want to look at how we can all work together to improve each other's faith, family, and flag, because that would be a great thing. And it doesn't mean everyone has to have a perfect nuclear family either. Most families in this country are absolutely chaotic for all sorts of different reasons, primarily because none of us do what the Bible tells us to do, actually, but there's another story. Anyway, putting that to one side. Lubna, I've been on a couple of live streams with Paul Thorpe. Very, very nice lady, very, very articulate, very polite, very well educated. And it's a tragedy that she feels she has to be careful about what she says now. And I hope she doesn't give up YouTubing altogether. I hope she continues on it, and I wish her the best. And I hope there can be some way that she's looked after and kept safe as well if these threats are genuine. I think the police need to take these things very seriously. I don't believe they do. I mean, I think of my friend Nissa Hussain. I haven't talked to Nissa for a long time, but Nissa went and told me in a lot of detail about what happened to him. And he had a terrible time. He ended up getting violently attacked, again, by people from his own community in Bradford. And because he changed religion, he became a Christian. And that was enough. To them, that's apostasy. Mufassal Islam, another friend of mine who was an ex-Muslim and did a lot of very, very articulate debates about the issues that were affecting his community. Again, he was pressurized into shutting his mouth and coming back into the fold, so to speak. And this has been a continual thing. We've got Shohab, another Muslim friend of ours, and again, he's getting persecuted. He's getting hassled. And he's not just getting hassled from it's a crazy thing. He's not just getting hassled from people in his own community. He's getting hassled from the state. And again, the whole point that I thought was that we meant to be trying to achieve was to de-radicalize anybody that's radicalized. Now, someone like Shohab is completely the opposite of a radical. So why is he getting grief from the state? And my big fear with Shohab is that he will actually not get his visa next when his visa's up for renewal, which I think would be a tragedy. So I think it's a disgrace when these sort of things happen. I've got other friends, I'm not going to mention names, I've got other friends from the Pakistani community that have gone through exactly the same sort of stuff. They need our help where possible. If we can give them protection, give them accommodation if they need it quickly, you know, they need the help of genuine patriotic people. And in the past, we have helped people. I'm not going to go into any details, but we have helped people as a movement and as a group. And if that had to happen again, I'm sure that we'd all, you know, people would stand up. Again, it's like anything, you know, a lot of things change, and you don't have the ability to do as much as you did in the past for all sorts of reasons. But the truth of the matter is, if somebody needs help, we need to be there to help them. So I wish Lubna all the best. I hope she gets that situation sorted out. I hope she continues. She's very brave. I take my hat off to her, because the oppression that she must be under doing that from within that community must be very, very scary for her. So I think we need to keep an eye on her. We need to, whoever's in touch with her, you need to keep checking in and making sure she's okay. And obviously there are people that we can probably put her in touch with that have come through the same sort of situation that she's come through, or she's going through, that could help her. So, but again, I'm not going to say too much about that. But yeah, all the best to Lubna. I hope she gets things sorted out. And again, moderation and tolerance is a good thing when it's done right. It's, you know, I don't believe in the fake tolerance of the progressive left. But when people are being tolerant of each other, disagreeing fundamentally with what each other believes, but we have to say, we disagree on this, but we're going to love each other enough to not want to destroy each other. And that's the difference, isn't it? I think that's the difference between what I believe and what people like me believe, and what extremists on any of these sides believe. I don't believe that you can read a New Testament and be an extremist. You can be extremely good and live a very, very good and upright life, but I don't believe that you can be an extremist if you're totally committed to the Word of God. In fact, quite the opposite, because what you're told, one of the main commands, and Jesus showed it from the cross: love your enemies. Anyway, enough of that. This channel is all about this. It's all about positivity. It's all about looking at things that are going on and saying, what's the solution and how can we help people? And we've got to start looking at how we can help people, because if there's a mass exodus of people from certain communities that don't want to follow the dogmas of those communities anymore, then our nation has a duty to protect those people. And as communities, we have a duty to protect them as well and help them. So all the best to Lubna. And like I say, very sad news, very depressing. But at the end of the day, this is what we would expect when you've got extremists. And there's extremists on the right, there's extremists on the left, and there's extremists in religious denominations. So this is what we've got to be against. We've got to be against hate, against bullying, intimidation. All that's wrong. All that's wrong. And a lot of us have been subject to this down through the years, and it wears you down for sure. But we keep going, we fight on, and we've got to realise that God's on our side and we're doing the right thing. See you all soon.